Just when I thought I was out,
They pull me back in.
they brought back Rust. Can't believe it. I thought they were going to update the maps a little bit, so I had to come back and play some Rust. And I really wanted to come back and give my final thoughts on the MW3 beta opening weekend. But first, I want to thank everybody for tuning in and showing love on the COD videos here recently. It's obvious that a lot of people are hyped. A lot of people are interested in the game this year, which happens a lot, but dare I say it? Dare I say it again? This time might be different. This time might be different, and I would like to explain why. So once again, thank you all so much for tuning in. I've gotten a chance to play the game quite a bit over the last couple of days, and I've compiled my thoughts. I've compiled them, positives and negatives, and I am here to share them with you today. So strap in and yeah, let's hop right into it. So positives for the game. We're starting off on a high note. Also, we got some Rust gameplay in the background for you too. Starting off on a high note, number one positive of the game is just the gameplay itself. It feels good. I don't know another way to really describe it in detail or like intricately, but the gameplay, the movement, first of all, but bringing back slide canceling, maybe not in its purest form. I've never really been like, I don't know, for or against slide canceling to begin with, but it feels like they brought it back in sort of a limited capacity almost. So there is obviously slide canceling in the game, but it's not quite as fluid and responsive as it once was, which kind of is like a happy middle ground. I feel like there's still a slight delay after you do it. So like if you're good and you have the right perk combination and those sorts of things, you're going to be able to outplay people with movement in the game, which I feel like a lot of people missed, with MW2 last year. So I'm actually happy that they brought that back, and I'm pretty surprised that it plays so well on the old MW2 maps. You would think that maybe, those maps just weren't built to move that quickly around them, but it really feels very fluid and nice. But also the weapon time to kill. Man, when I came back and played Vanguard, that was like, I mean, Vanguard, it was probably one of the fastest TTKs ever. But now that we've gone back to what I feel is a more normalized, COD time to kill, it feels so good having gunfights that you're actually like proud to win. You know what I mean? You can actually outshoot people that get the first shot on you if they miss. Now, most of the weapons like the OG MW2, they're not going to have a lot of recoil. The MCW, the UMP, like they're laser beams, right? So you're not going to run into that many people that are just like whiffing shots. I still think it's pretty easy to shoot. But having that extra time to kill, the 150 HP or whatever they've got it set at, it feels really nice. If your shots are on point, you're still going to beam people, but your shots got to be on point. And if you miss, then you get punished for that. So I think those two things in combination, the movement of the game with the time to kill the way it is, just makes for a pleasant playing experience. I don't feel like for most of my deaths, I don't feel like I got cheated out of it or damn, that person shouldn't have won that. I feel that every gunfight is like pretty fair for the most part. So I'm not raging based on somebody killing me in one bullet or whatever. But also, dude, the most overlooked part of the game, and I've said this before, obviously there's people that think about these things, but the audio of the game, the way the bullets slap against the skin, dude, it sounds nice. The guns don't even sound like powerful. They sound almost like, I don't even know, paintball guns, airsoft guns. They sound relatively weak, but they sound nice when you're shooting them. And the headshot sound, and when you hear that like slapping effect, I think the time to kill plays a role in that too, because if you kill somebody in one bullet, there's no time to hear the right whenever you're hitting somebody. Like not Vanguard, Black Ops 4, I also really like the sound in that as well. But the sounds of this game, dude, addicting. You kill somebody, you get like a 2 or 3 streak, and it just feeds that addiction, and you need it again and again and again. So the sounds of the game, and especially the weapons, I think are fantastic. Huge fan of that. And then lastly, the maps. Even though I'm not talking about the maps that we're playing, because I mean, if you played the OG MW2, you know that like the maps we're playing right now, these were like the outcast maps, favela and Skid Row, and you know, especially Estate. Although I will say I'm having a fine time with Estate. I don't know, I kind of like the map. Maybe it's because I'm using NMCW most of the time, but yeah, these are not the good maps. These are the worst ones, probably, to be honest. I mean, when you think about the iconic MW2 maps, High Rise, Terminal, Scrapyard, Invasion, those types of things, those are going to be the maps that 90% of us end up playing anyway. So, like, dude, the fact that, I mean, these are better than, you know, the last couple of years, for sure. So, like, the worst maps of this game are going to be better than the best maps of the last couple of years, which is great. And, yeah, so I'm putting maps as a positive on here, even though I haven't played the remastered versions, but I know they're not going to suck. So I'm definitely excited to play those. So I've got movement, time to kill, the sounds, and the maps all listed as positives. And those are all like gameplay features. I love all that stuff. I think the game itself, the base game, even though the bar was set low, I get it. The bar was set low. All they had to do was just revert, just bring back everything you took out, and it'd be a fantastic game. That's what, at least they did that. That's a start. They could have not did that. So they really did. This is what I thought. The reason I was hyped last year for COD, which was the first time I was hyped probably since Black Ops 4. The reason why is because I thought this was the game we were getting. I thought this was going to be MW2 2022. It was not. It was not. So MW2 Remastered is this. It's MW3. But now that I've played it and, you know, can confirm that this is actually what we're getting, I'm hyped for it, man. I think the base game itself is great. But that does lead me into, not even going to say the negatives. I'm going to say things that can be improved upon, because there are a few. One, everybody knows, I already made a video about it, but it's the skill-based matchmaking in public matches. It's so high tuned, bro. And I've thought about this a little bit more, and I think I know why it bothers me. I think it's because, like, if you're a bad player, I'm not even gonna say bad, if you're like an average Call of Duty player, you get on after work and play twice a week, you know, you're normal Joe Schmo, you know what I mean? If you're that guy, it's not a guarantee that you're going to get into a lobby with demons, right? It's not like every single game you get into, you're going to get stomped. It's not like that. You're going to get some lobbies with demons, right? You're going to have to like back out or just get stomped, right? But probably the majority, I would even say, of your games are going to be with other average people, right? Because it's random, right? When it's completely random. But if you're an above average player with skill-based matchmaking, as high-tuned as it is, it's almost a guarantee that every game you play is going to be competitive, right? So it's no longer random anymore. So it's like, yeah, maybe 20% of the time, you know, you're going to have to, if you're an average player, you know, you're going to get stomped on, but the other 80% of the time, you're going to have a great time. If you are like an above average player, but you're not the best in the world, you are in the wrong bucket, brother. And I want to say that's probably 90% of us right here. You know what I mean? You're better than that guy that plays once a week, twice a week, but you're not as good as Shotzi. Like, you're in for a bad time, right? Because if you are as good as Shotzi, it doesn't matter. Like, you can play whatever lobby you want. You're just going to stomp them. But if you're not good enough to do that, you're just 90% of your games are going to be really competitive, and you're just not going to be able to do anything other than like compete hard. Like, you're gonna have to use the best weapons, the best classes, all of the time. Like, the days of using public matches to grind camos, or, you know, 360 no scope, right? The sniping in the game is great. I would love to be able to go into pubs and snipe. You just won't be able to do it. Like, you can't and expect to have a good time. Like, you can do it and just go 10 and 30, but who the fuck wants to do that? You know what I mean? Like 90% of your games you're going to go in and everybody's going to have the meta classes and loadouts and that's going to be that. And obviously that's a symptom of, you know, social media, YouTube, more people making videos, more people researching it out. It was inevitable that that was going to happen, but skill-based matchmaking makes it so much worse. And so I don't know. I feel like I'm just shouting into the void. There's no sense in complaining about it because they're not gonna do anything with it. Maybe they tune it down a little bit and, you know, throw you a freaking bone. It does seem like maybe, you know, after you get stomped on like 2 or 3 games, you kind of get an easier lobby. But for the most part, I would say, you know, most of my games, very, very competitive and sweaty. Although I was sweating too, so I can't. Can't blame people. Okay, but we've talked enough about skill-based matchmaking. Second, I have kill streaks as a negative. I don't know if we got all the kill streaks in the game, but they're pretty underwhelming. Like the penultimate kill streak in the beta is the SAE, which is essentially just a fucking lightning strike. It was one of the first kill streaks in COD 4 ever. It was like 5 kills, you get a lightning strike. That's the best one? There's no way, bro. Bring back, you know, think of some of the most iconic kill streaks. Chopper Gunner, AC-130, fucking Black Ops 2 Swarm. Like, I want something fun, bro. Like, make it hard to get, but, you know, how do I get something that racks up 10, 11, 12 kills, lights up the feed, and, like, feeds back into that addictive nature of the game? Because you know how fun it is if you get it. But right now, it's like UAV, counter UAV, lightning strike, nuke. So that just seems like way too big of a gap in terms of the kill streaks. But I'm holding out hope that they just teased the kill streaks a little bit and we'll actually have more once the game releases. So we'll see, but I've got that on something that could be a potential negative. And thirdly is the visibility of the game. I'm going to give in and say that this actually is an issue. I've seen other people talk about this and they're right. They're right. It's hard to see people, and my glasses are thick as fuck, boy, and I still can't really see. I had to change my FOV. I had to lower it. I was on 120, couldn't see shit. I had to lower it and put it back to like 110 or 105 or something so I could bring the game closer to me. Because I was just shooting my teammates so many times. Anytime a teammate runs around a corner, I'm automatically trying to blast them. And so I don't know if it's like if they could make the names of your teammates like a brighter blue, maybe, and the enemies like a brighter red. But right now, every person just kind of seems the same, almost. So I don't know if it's a color issue, might be a skill issue, or if they could maybe do something with, you know, the character models based on what team you're on, like make them look way different from each other. But right now it is kind of hard. It's kind of hard to distinguish your teammate from other people. So I've got visibility as the third negative. And then lastly, I have the spawns. Now I'm holding out hope on this point as well, that the spawns are somewhat a product of the maps that we're playing. A reason why these were kind of the outcast, or at least one of the reasons why these were some of the outcast maps of MW2, is because the spawns didn't fucking make sense on Favela and Skid Row. It was too hard to predict. And it definitely is, even in game modes where you know, TDM's always been relatively random. But even in game modes where you think it would be a little bit more predictable, like Hardpoint and that type of stuff, it's still just really hard to predict where people are going to spawn at. And, you know, being able to predict the spawns is like, it's such a crucial part of the flow of the game. It dictates how you move around the map based on where your teammates are positioned, you know, where people are likely to spawn, and therefore where they are likely to try to rotate out of the spawn. That dictates how you move around the map. So if all of that is unpredictable, all of the movement on the map from the players is unpredictable, and you just have a complete clusterfuck instead of a flow of the game. And that flow, that underlying flow of the game is a really, I feel like, underlooked, like satisfying part of the game. It feels like you're like you're surfing almost, like it's a wave. You know, stick with me. It's like a wave, and you're surfing the wave because you're in the flow of the game, right? You're picking up these kills on the cuts, and therefore, you know, you see your teammates here. You know, they're spawning here, and they're flowing this way, so you're flowing, you know, against that. And as long as your shots are good and you're hitting it, you know, it's like you're surfing the whole game, and that feels good. But right now, you know, you think you're catching the wave, and then you get hit with a fucking brick, and it's hitting you when you're not expecting it, and that's not necessarily a fun thing. I think it takes you out of that flow, and it takes you out of, I don't know, the rhythm of the game. So I think, you know, having somewhat more predictable spawns, I've seen other people talking about it, and apparently it's not squad spawns, at least in the beta. It's more just kind of random. We're still trying to figure out, you know, what it is that's influencing the spawn system the most. But yeah, I think those four: skill-based matchmaking, kill streaks, visibility, and the spawn system are probably my main negatives. And then positives for me: gameplay, the movement, the weapons, time to kill, the actual audio and sounds, and then the maps that we're gonna be playing. I think are all positive. So all in all, man, like I said, I think it's got a chance. I think it's got a chance. I don't know. I think I'll probably mostly be playing Warzone 3 anyway. But just looking at the base game the way it is right now, dope. It's pretty freaking good. And it's got me riled up. It's got me riled up a little bit, and I think it does everybody else as well. So we'll see. I'm going to try not to get my hopes up too much. But it doesn't seem like they could really, from here, they couldn't really screw it up too much, right? You know, from right now, we got a little over a month until the game releases. So I'm holding out hope. If I had to rank, you know, 1 to 10 beta weekend one, I'm gonna give it a 7 out of 10, which is actually, nah, fuck that. 7. Anytime somebody rates something 1 out of 10, tell them to not say 7. Because that's what everybody fucking does. It's either an 8 or a 6. And I'm going to be honest, I'm giving it a 6. I'm going to give it a 6 based on those things that we talked about. The bar was already set low. All they did to make the gameplay great was just revert everything they fucked up. And the negatives, you know, the skill-based matchmaking, the maps that they gave us, right? I think were outcast maps, the kill streaks, and the visibility. If I had to give it a 6 or an 8, it's a 6. But they could very easily make it an 8 or even a 9 by the time the game releases by just tuning some of these things. So I'm excited. Hopefully you guys are as well. I don't know. I guess I'm probably going to end up playing some Fortnite in the meantime over the next month or so. But once the game drops, I'm ready, bro. I'm ready for some COD this year. So stay tuned. Thank you all so much for tuning in, and I will catch you right back here next time. If you did enjoy the video, be sure to leave a like. If you didn't, just refresh it. Give it one more chance. And as always, guys, I don't really have